We've decoded the CT scans from our paleontology friends, and it has shown us the worst. Somehow Xenodens returned. Yes, I do apologise for using a skit from probably the worst trilogy of the Star Wars movies, but yeah, anyways, it's happened. Xenodens is back, baby! Yeah! So yeah, just allow me to clear my throat. Wet me whistle as you do. Yes, that's right, a new paper has actually come out, and Xenodens is back. It's back, and it's undoubtedly back. The science has shown that Xenodens is a real mosasaur. Before we get into the paper, we'll do a quick rundown of the situation. So, first of all, we go back to 2021 with the description of Xenodens, a small mosasaurid from the phosphates of Morocco, and this was a weird little mosasaur, probably about 1 to 2 meters in length, lived around about 66 million years ago, so, you know, big rock kind of thing, big rock. Not Big Dwayne, big rock. And this animal, even though at the time it was based off of one specimen, a left maxilla, or, you know, a left cheekbone, like, you know, my lovely looking cheeks here. This guy was weird because he had saw blade teeth. So Xenodens, you could effectively, you know, have it in your toolkit, and you're like, I need to cut that bit of wood, and grab a Xenodens and So yeah, Xenodens was actually riding high for about 3 years, from 2021 to 2024. It was a really weird little mosasaur, you know, really adorable little saw-toothed creature. Then in 2024, Sharp et al. Actually came out and suggested, now, we believe this could be a possible chimeric forgery, which their claims were pretty well founded at the time, as in, this was a really weird mosasaur, really weird. And the paper that they brought out basically reassessed Xenodens and said a couple of things about it. One, this was a chimeric forgery. Two, the actual collection of the fossil was unscientific. It was through actual commercial rather than scientific means, which, okay, that's a fair point actually. They also said that Xenodens is possibly a juvenile Xenodens, which all those points were quite good for the paper, and they demonstrated also there's a lot of hybridimes with certain mosasaur tooth development, particularly with the ornamentation and variation amongst populations and individuals. Really good with that paper, really good. However, I have a few criticisms of that paper, which I actually detailed in a video before, but I'll quickly go through them here just to bring you up to speed, basically. So, first off, and the most glaring actual criticism of this paper, was that Sharp et al. And fellow authors never actually went to see Xenodens, the Xenoden holotype, in Morocco. They looked at the photos from the original description paper, which isn't the best way to go about things if you're criticising the specimen. Now, there could be a load of, you know, backstage sort of stuff that could be holding back from that, in which case, fair enough, you know, logistics or basically getting the right contacts or the right permissions, that's absolutely fair. That's the fair thing in paleontology. But to go on a route like this and just go off the photos is probably not the best idea. The other thing, the other criticism I have is that there was a lot of sort of, particularly with the physical specimen itself, there was figures that suggested there was possible adhesive on the specimen, particularly around the teeth. Now, if, again, you should have seen the specimen itself, but saying possible, if you're saying it's a possible forgery, I understand the perspective they were coming from, but in my eyes, saying it's possibly an adhesive, well, possibly could, or it possibly couldn't be. That's the problem. Additionally, when they said that Xenodens is possibly a juvenile Xenodens, the main two things for me were a figure that actually shows up in the paper that shows the ontogeny of the teeth from Xenodens to Xenodens, and if you actually look at the teeth of the Xenodens teeth are actually from different positions in the jaw, so different teeth in the different tooth positions go through different ontogenies, and therefore not all teeth are the same. Another thing about the Xenodens connection is that Xenodens, for it to go from having these thin blade-like teeth to suddenly having these quite thick, robust, ornamented teeth in such a rapid change, that's an even bigger dramatic change than, say, Tyrannosaurs, when Nanotyrannus was a Tyrannosaurus at the time. That's incredibly dramatic for a vertebrate to go through, and they were my main criticisms of this paper. Now, I will stress this is not a personal attack on any of those authors, and it's not an incentive to go after those authors. If you do that, that is horrible. That is plainly horrible. But this sort of scientific criticism I have is just some points I want to get up to speed with you where I was seeing the paper from. And this was basically putting Xenodens in a flux for a time until 2025. So the big thing this year was a new study came out looking at the Xenodens holotype and referring another specimen to Xenodens. And this was by Longridge again, so did the original paper. Now he's doing this rebuttal paper of the rebuttal, I guess you could say. But basically, it's solidified. Xenodens is not a forgery. Xenodens is a real animal, and it is really weird. Basically, Longridge et al. Took this specimen and the referred specimen and put them through a CT scanner, which is exactly what we should have been doing in the first place. And also looked at redescribing the specimens and sort of re-diagnose them, adding some more diagnoses, which is absolutely fantastic. But it shows that some of the possible adhesive round the tooth roots were actually a type of tissue that actually attaches the tooth root to the jaw. And this, well, it just seems to be quite overlapping across all the teeth. Additionally, the sort of resorption pits that look like just one tooth socket are actually just two resorption pits that became one during the tooth replacement process. It also seems that the teeth are actually in single sockets. That's not like two teeth are actually in the same socket. And what's also weird is that based on the anatomy of the teeth and the tooth roots and the position of the jaw, the teeth in the jaws, it seems like the front teeth of Xenodens shed alternatively. So one would go, then another, then another, then another. While the back teeth seem to shed in pairs, which is really weird, which says something about how these animals probably fed and probably processed food. Maybe they were doing it really differently than other mosasaurs that had cutting teeth and were actually cutting up their prey. Really, really weird stuff, that. And the other key takeaway is that Xenodens is not a Crinodens. In fact, it seems like a lot of Crinodens specimens are actually the same size as the Xenodens specimens, so the holotype and the referred specimen. And Xenodens is lacking a lot of Crinodens features, particularly to do with the maxilla, because well, we all have maxilla of Xenodens. It's lacking the overall shape, and it's lacking a particular ridge on the side of the maxilla, which shows up in Crinodens specimens of the same size, but doesn't show up in Xenodens, and doesn't even seem like Xenodens is starting to develop that. And again, the dramatic ontogenetic change for Xenodens to go through to become Crinodens at that size would be, well, absolutely ridiculous. So yeah, in conclusion, Xenodens is back. And sorry, I just belched them, but Xenodens is back. And it is weird, and we can verifiably say that Xenodens is real and it's weird. That's the biggest takeaway of this video. Xenodens is weird. Anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you later. Ta-da. Bye.